All right, welcome. If you're a junior developer, you've probably had that moment. You know the one. You're staring at production logs, and you see this wall of text that looks like absolute gibberish. Trust me, we have all been there. Today, we're going to break it all down and show you that it's not nearly as scary as it looks.
So yeah, this might look like a complete mess, and if you're feeling a bit lost right now, that is totally normal. Now, the first thing to know is that this isn't just random junk. See that little caret symbol everywhere? Well, that's just a placeholder for a special, non-printable character called start of header, or SOH. You can think of it as a special kind of comma that computers use to separate things.
But here's the most important thing I can tell you. You do not need to memorize any of this. The whole point here is to learn how to spot a simple repeating pattern. I promise, once you see it, the whole thing just clicks, and you'll be able to read these messages like you've been doing it for years.
Okay, so let's get right into it. We're going to start with the single most important concept, the one thing that will unlock your ability to read pretty much any fixed message you ever see. We kind of like to call it the golden rule of fix.
And here is the big secret. Everything is just a tag value pair. That's it. Every single piece of that long string is just a number, which we call a tag, followed by some data, the value. You get this one concept, and you've basically cracked the entire code.
Let's look at a really simple example right from our message 35 equals D. See? 35 is the tag. The equal sign is just the separator in the middle, and D is the value. The whole fixed message is just a long chain of these little pairs, one right after the other.
Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine a shelf full of labeled boxes. Each tag, each number, is just a label telling you exactly what's inside the box. And the fixed standard? That's just the dictionary that tells you what every single label means. It's that simple, really.
So we know it's all about these tag value pairs. Now let's see how they're organized to build a full message. Because even though it looks like one long, chaotic string, every single fixed message has a really clear, predictable three-part structure.
Every message has a header, a body, and a trailer. The header is basically the envelope. It tells you who sent it, where it's going, and what kind of message this is. The body is the main event. That's where all the business details live. And the trailer? That's just a quick little check at the end to make sure the message didn't get scrambled along the way.
All right, enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty and actually apply this stuff. We're going to go back to that real message from the beginning and translate it together, piece by piece.
First up, let's look at the tags in the header. The easiest way to think about these is like the address label on a package. Their whole job is to make sure the message gets from point A to point B safely and in the right order.
So let's quickly break these down. Tag 8 just tells you the version of fix we're using. Tag 9 gives you the message length, which is super important for making sure no data got lost. Tags 49 and 56, those are your from and to addresses, the sender and the receiver. And tag 34 is the sequence number, which is absolutely crucial for making sure you haven't missed any messages in the conversation.
Okay, now for what is arguably the single most important tag you need to find when you're digging through logs. I like to call this the subject line tag, because it tells you the purpose of the entire message in a single glance.
This one is tag 35, the message type. In our example, 35 equals D means it's a new order single. This is your golden ticket when you are debugging. If you see a 35 equals 8, you know it's an execution report. A 35 equals F, that's a cancel request. Seriously, when you're looking through logs, this is the very first tag you should always look for.
Okay, so we've read the address label and we've checked the subject line. Now let's get to the good part, the actual business instruction that's sitting inside the body of the message. Let's read the story of this trade. Tag 11, that's the unique ID for this specific order. Tag 55 tells us the symbol is AAPL, so we're trading Apple stock. Tag 54 is a 1, which in fix-speak means we're buying. How much are we buying? Tag 38 says 100 shares. And what kind of order is it? Tag 40 tells us it's a limit order, and tag 44 sets that limit price right at $150.
So if we put all of that together, what does this message actually say? It's just a simple story, buy 100 shares of Apple with a limit price of $150 each. See? Once you know the key tags, you're not reading code anymore. You're reading a clear human instruction.
And that brings us to the very end of the message, the trailer. There's only one tag here. Tag 10, the checksum. It's just a quick math problem the computer does to make sure the message arrived perfectly. The good news? You will probably never have to calculate this yourself. The fix engine handles it all automatically. Just remember, it's always the very last tag.
And just like that, you've decoded your first FIX message. So let's wrap this up into a handy little cheat sheet. Again, the goal here isn't memorization. It's about having a quick reference for recognizing patterns when you're staring at a log file.
Honestly, the best way to read logs is to just know which questions to ask. If you're wondering, what is this message even for, you immediately scan for tag 35. If you need to know who sent this and where it was going, you look for tags 49 and 56. And for the nitty-gritty trade details, you're just looking for the symbol, side, quantity, and price. It's all about knowing where to look to find the answer.
Before we finish up, just a few common mistakes to watch out for. First, the order of the tags in the header really does matter, so don't assume you can shuffle them. Second, please never ever try to edit a fixed message by hand in a text editor. They are built by machines, and if you change even one character, you'll break everything. And finally, just remember that little caret symbol is just a visual placeholder, not the real character.
So if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. A fixed message might look complicated at first glance, but it always follows the same predictable pattern. Once you're comfortable with that tag equals value structure, you can read any fixed message that comes your way. You've done it. You successfully decoded your first fixed message. You now have the fundamental skill to read the language of the market. So here's a final thought to take with you. Now that you can read a single order, how do you follow the entire life of that trade, from this new order to the broker's acknowledgement, all the way to the final fill? Well, that's exactly what we'll tackle in our next explainer.